Silence all cell phones and electronic devices. Excuse me, it's 2 o'clock. I'd like to call a meeting to order. When speaking, please come to the podium, state your name, address, and speak loudly and clearly. Thank you. Item number 1 on the agenda for today is approval of the agenda.
I'll move it.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Item number 2, approval of the minutes from the September 9th, 2025 meeting. I move that.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Item number 3, approval of claims. Call on Shane Albrecht for that, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right now, we have 6 claims this time before us. First one is from Greenwood Consulting, and that is Bob Veenstra, and that's for $1,400. Next one is from Resource Consultant Engineers in the amount of $19,167.50. The next one from Resource Consulting Engineers is in the amount of $13,052.50. The next bill is from CW Suter Services, and it's for $1,061.75. The next bill is from Thompson Electric Company, and that's for $12,125. And the final bill is from Thompson for $5,925. The grand total of this is $52,731.75. Is there any questions?
On the RCE bills, are those, I know that Corey has been slow on billing for their, all the work that they've done on these design issues. Is that what those invoices are for?
Okay, so the first one, the $19,167.50, that is for his help on all the construction issues so far, and all the time he's been putting in on that. The bill for $13,052.50 is his work on the expert report that we've been having him do. So the second one's litigation, Mark, and the other one's project costs.
Okay, thank you.
And you're right, Mark, he hasn't billed for several months, so he's still within like the estimate he gave us and all that. He just kind of bills in bulk for multiple months, so, yep.
Any other questions?
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. All right, item number 4 on the agenda today is our financial report, and we would call on Mr. Ryan Erickson for that, please.
Yeah, Ryan Erickson, Finance Director with Woodbury County. The one change on the financial report, previous reports were for a 2-week period. Going forward, I will be issuing them on a monthly basis, so this covers the month of September. And in that month, there was only one bill paid to the Baker Group, and it was for about $23,000, and it was split between the construction and the miscellaneous funds. So after that was paid, the construction fund has just under $3.2 million in it, and majority of that's being held for the retainage. And then the miscellaneous is just under $700,000, and the maintenance fund is just over $1.6 million.
Any questions for Mr. Erickson?
I don't know.
Thank you, sir. Item number 5 on the agenda today is discussion and action on Star Control's quote for AHU1, and I would call on Shane for that, please.
Okay, before you have a price not to exceed $5,500, and this is for AHU1. And this is what this will do is, right now, AHU1, 2, and 3 had a fan wall in them. So for the return fans, they all came on together. This will cause them so you can bring one on it separately at a time. So this splits the signal to allow us to be able to control these. If everybody remembers, I'll just tell you, Air Handler 1 has 31,000 CFM is what it was designed for. We only need 18,000 of that. The return section is 24,000 CFM, and at maximum, we only need about 12. So this return fan section was so big, the AHU1 would trip out on low signal because it couldn't turn the fans down as far as we needed to. So Corey's recommendation was we needed to split these apart. So this is the money to reprogram that and add that so we can split the fans apart. Any questions on that? None.
Hearing none?
And this work will be done, or is it already ongoing?
Yes. That's, this quote's been signed by Ron and stuff, Mark, so we can keep it moving. That work was actually completed about a week ago.
Okay. I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Item number 6 on the agenda today is discussion and action on Star Control's quote for AHU 2. And again, I'd call on Shane Albrecht from Baker Group, please.
The numbers, so this is the same number you just saw, but it's to do the same thing to Air Handler 2. It has the same problem and is gonna be doing the same thing, just its numbers are different. What I mean by its numbers are different, sorry, instead of 18,000 CFM, it needs 22,000 CFM and it has a higher return, but it still has the same problems.
And this work's been completed already, or are they still working on that?
This work has been completed as well.
I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Passes 3-0. Item number 7 on the agenda today is discussion and action on Star Control's quote for BAS training. And I'd call on Shane Albrecht for that, please.
So, there was training that happened about July of 2024 on the BAS system. And Kenny, would you come up, please? Currently, because of all the different issues that we've had going on with AHU 1 and 2, some of the things that aren't the same, we felt, talking with Kenny, that training was needed. So Kenny, would you comment on that?
Sure. Out of all of the issues, whether it be design issues or programming issues or programming changes that we've asked for, at a certain point, I took a hands-off approach, and I told all my maintenance people, hands-off, we're not touching the building automation system until it's complete and we know what it's doing. There were times that were early on that were questionable about adjustments that we were actually making and the results that we were expecting to see from those changes we weren't seeing. So again, I instructed all the maintenance staff, hands-off approach, we're not touching this system. Since that time, there's been a huge lapse from the time we had that first training. And so now I feel it's important to bring the staff back, to retrain them so they have fresh in their minds how this system operates. And now that they'll be able to use it and utilize the system, there won't be that problem, going forward. So I think it's very important that we get them trained right and the system operates the way they expect to after they make an adjustment.
This training will be scheduled, it is scheduled for November 5th from 12 o'clock till 4:15.
Thanks, Kenny. I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Passes 3-0. Okay, item number 8 on the agenda, discussion and action on Star Control's quote for EF2 and EF3 shutdown. And again, I call on Shane Albrecht, please.
Yeah, so this, so right now, EF2 and 3 are on the jail tower. They exhaust 22,650 CFM out all the time, constant exhaust out. Air Handler 3 supplies a shade over that, about 23,000 and some change. When we lose Air Handler 3, EF2 and 3 still run. So the building becomes extremely negative and has caused sewer gas and other problems throughout our building. So we felt it was good if we put a shutdown sequence that caused, if loss of signal from AHU 3, it shuts down exhaust fans 2 and 3. It sends alarms to Kenny when that thing's in alarm, but this will shut the exhaust fans down to cause the building not to get so far out of whack before Kenny's guys can get there to fix it.
Any questions? None. I move that we move that item, please. Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Item number 9 on the agenda today is discussion and action on Thompson Solution Group quote for lightning protection. And again, I call on Shane Albrecht, please.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember, but a few meetings back, Kenny came up to the thing when he was talking about his stuff, and he said, hey, we added 2 new exhaust fans to the roof, and we've added a makeup air unit to the roof, but we didn't add lightning protection as part of PR 54. So I reached out to Thompson, and we have a delegated design. So what that actually means is a third party came in and designed where the lightning protection needed to go on the roof. For that warranty and for that design to be applicable, we have to tell them of any changes. So this $3,150 is the amount of money we need to add in lightning protection to the roof because of the additions of exhaust fans 13, 14, and that makeup air unit.
Any questions?
Jody, would these be damages that we're gonna try to recoup?
Yes. Yes, because those additions of EF 13 and 14 and the mini split were due to Introva's design errors.
Thank you. I move approval.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Passes 3-0. Item number 10, discussion and action on fence for trash enclosures. And I would again call on Shane Albrecht, please.
Yeah, so Kenny, could you come up here, please? So basically with the population and how the trash enclosure gate's built, we can only ever get one dumpster inside the thing. And because of the population and the amount of trash that's going on, that's not acceptable. Kenny's having all kinds of trash issues. Would you speak more to that, sir?
Right. So initially, when the LEC was built, we knew as the population increased, or if we increased the size of the facility, that we would eventually have to do something trash related. Unfortunately, this has probably come earlier than later, and this might be a two-step process. Our population level now is to the point where the one dumpster that we can get into the trash container area is the only size that we can get in there. I'd like to we need to switch to a larger container so we don't have to pull that trash bin multiple times a week. The problem is we can't get a bigger container in that area without modifying the front gate. So we're looking at modifying the front gate now as step one and getting a larger trash container in there. Longer term, I'd like to see the county and or the authority install a trash compactor. We'll see at what point I might have to make that request depending on population and or if we at some point upsize the facility. It'll definitely be necessary then. So, but for now, we'd like to modify the front gate on that, and so we can move forward with getting trash out in a more conducive manner.
You guys will see 3 quotes in here. The first one is just to remove the front gate and leave it open. The next one is to remove the front gate and put a chain link fence in with privacy slats. And the final one is to remove the gate, put a steel frame and kind of a black ornamental type of gate on the front that's solid, you can't see through it. Because of our meeting being scheduled last time, this was something that Kenny needed to get done. So Ron approved the third one the 4750. So we just need everybody to agree to that. That's what Kenny had everybody moving forward with then that was Kenny's recommendation.
We've got that scheduled. They might even begin tomorrow and with the modification of the current gate and then the installation of the new one, hopefully as soon as next week sometime.
Kevin, do you have anything you want to add on that?
No, Shane, I don't. Thank
Okay.
you.
Move approval of option number 3 in the amount of $4,750.
I'll second that. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Passes 3-0. Thank you. Item number 11 is information and update on the LEC project. And again, I call on Shane Albrecht from Baker Group, please.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. To give everybody an update, we've been, have a few things have been going on. Since our last meeting, we've had them come out and try to mitigate the sound issues in the jury rooms, and have been working on boiler number 1 continuing to fail, as well as working on the HVAC system. So I'll do these as all 3 of those things. So the jury rooms, first off, a couple Saturdays happened, one late in September and another Saturday approximately a week later. We've done a punch list of this, and the areas are not acceptable to us. There's carpet that needs to be replaced. There's painting that needs to be redone. There's wall base that's not up to standard. And there's one of the doors that the automatic door bottom does not hit all the way across, so you could still see light under the door. The other 2 doors, they did get them sealed, so you can no longer see light coming in from the courtroom. We did inspect everything when they were putting it back. So they did insulate around all the doors. We did verify that. They did insulate around all the outlets. All those things. As far as the jury room, Kevin, do you have any other comments?
No, I'd like to see them finish up and closing up those gaps on there. I'd be very anxious to see how much sound that eliminated from transferring from the jury rooms to the courtroom.
Yeah. Ron, I'm sure Peggy and Stacy are here. I'm sure they've tried too, but Ron and Kenny and myself did a little bit more of a sound test. One was definitely a lot better than it was previously. I could not understand what Kenny and Ron were saying. I could hear that they were talking, there was noise, but I could not understand the words. The other courtroom where the door bottom's not right yet, I could still hear them talking just like before, so that does need to be fixed. Kevin's recommendation there is that floor's not flat enough, so those carpet tiles need to be pulled up, that floor to be refloated with a leveling grout. So I do want to thank Kevin. He has been very valuable in all this stuff and been part of a lot of calls on a lot of things, although I may have forgotten to talk to him about the trash enclosure. So, sorry, Kev.
All good, Shane.
The next one we'll deal with is the boilers. So, for 2 years now, boiler 1 has not worked for a very long time and it has continued to fail. We've sent emails and we pushed Suter very hard. Lochinvar came out with a rep to download a new program into boiler 1 last Wednesday. And mess a little bit with flow switch on boiler 2 that hadn't been failing. Report is this week. Yesterday, Chubb Insurance had their boiler inspector there to do an inspection. When they got up to the boiler room, boiler 2 was failed because it had the flow switch open too long, so it was red, not working. Boiler 1 was running, but Chubb was concerned and may send us a report saying they're concerned because boiler 1 has a note on it that says, when boiler has errors, please take picture of errors and send to this person. And they, going into winter, they were a little bit concerned about the fact that we have one boiler that was locked out and the other boiler with a note on it what to do when it has errors. So we've reached out, of course, to Suter, who's pushing lock and bar, sent the heirs to Vern Simmons, which is Kent with Vern Simmons is the rep that's been out here. And we will report next time on any follow-ups from that. The insurance carrier is probably gonna write us up a 30-day correction on it, so when we get that again, we'll send that out to Suter as well to put them on notice. I did send out an email 2 weeks ago to them when Jody and I were sitting there talking, telling them that right now we want a new boiler number one. And they sent back a nice response that they're working very hard to get this resolved and trying to stay within the confines of doing this. Is there anything on boiler 1 or 2, Kenny, that I missed?
No, but I'd just like to add or clarify that when the insurance carrier, Chubb, did come out to do the inspection, it was not by anyone's request. They were out just to do their annual inspection. So to be transparent, we did not previously call them to come and do this inspection. It was a normal inspection that they normally conduct. So, it may look otherwise if you didn't know that information, but that was not by our request. They called and said, hey, we're ready to come do our annual inspection, and they came and did it, so, thanks.
So a final thing that's kind of been going on is all the modifications to AHU 1, 2, and AHU 3. So tonight, Andy from Star Controls and his guys will come in to do the final things for splitting the signal for AHU 3, the rest of PR 55R2 work, which is a new control sequence for everybody that wants to know what PR 55R2 is, as well as adding a diffuser in evidence and 3 CO2 sensors to the courtrooms. That work should be complete by the end of today. It would be done at night, so by midnight tonight. Tomorrow, we will be going out there to test the airflow monitoring stations on Air Handler 1 to see what we get for readings. Got a meeting with Corey from 9 to 10 tomorrow. And that hopefully we're starting to get all the bugs out of everything and getting it down to the final adjustments and tweaks. They also tomorrow will load the new program sequence in AHU 3 on Wednesday, so we can watch that and hopefully no new problems will come out of that. Through our commissioning and everything else, there has been some things that have been deemed to be incorrect. One of them is the location of the hot water bypass valve, and the other one to be the chilled water differential pressure sensors. Suter should start pricing the moving of the hot water bypass valve. It will be moved to the doghouse around Air Handler 3, as well as 2 new differential pressure sensors set in that doghouse for the chilled water system as well. Right now, there's extreme spikes. Our pumps, for everybody's knowledge, are controlled by differential pressure. It controls the speed of the pumps. And because they're located too close to a bypass valve, they're giving inaccurate readings and causing us to have more pumps running than need to be. And the issue with the hot water bypass valve, industry standards say it should be installed within no closer than within 2/3 of the overall length of the pipe. Currently, it's installed within 10 feet of the pumps and the boilers. So it needs to be clear at the end of the system, and they've got it at the very beginning. So that will be moved as well. That's kind of what I have for an update, unless they have any questions. Or Kevin, if you have anything I didn't touch on?
No, I don't have anything to add there, Shane.
Okay.
Any
And
questions for Shane?
I was going to tell you, everybody, if you don't remember, Mark from, I think his name's Mark, from Entroba, did also recommend that the hot water bypass valve be relocated out of the penthouse. So That will be sent to Entroba as well, and Kevin, you will be copied in that when that comes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. Item number 12 on the agenda today is public concerns that do not relate to the scheduled item on the agenda.
Good morning, excuse me, good afternoon. I don't have any concerns. This is more of a encouragement to the LEC board and to our citizens. So just bear with me for a minute. Thank you, Chairman, for letting me just bear with me. That's something I want to read and encourage us in. I typed it up just to be very concise, but as we enter this final phase of the LEC mediation, and we all look forward to putting this behind us and getting restitution, I just want to remind us and myself and our county the guiding principles that founded our constitutional republic. Back in World War II, before Project Dynamo, that was the Dunkirk retrieval of the British Expeditionary Forces that saved 350,000 men in Dunkirk, France. The King of England called for a day of prayer and fasting. Many believe that day of prayer and fasting broke the power of the Nazis and broke the power of the Axis evil powers over Western Europe on that day. And tens of thousands of Britons went out and prayed and fasted and prayed for the soldiers to be safely brought home. So in that spirit, and on June 28th, 1787, at the Constitutional Convention, Benjamin Franklin, who was one of our least religious / Christian founders and an elder statesman at that time in 1787, he spoke to the delegates in the attempt to get them back on track. And we're on track, but I just want to read this, what he said. And so I just want to hear the spirit of this. He said, Mr. President, the small progress we have made after the 4 or 5 weeks of close attendance and continual reasonings with each other, from our different sentiments in almost every question, several of the last producing as many nays and ayes, methinks, this, and I'm quoting him directly, a melancholy proof of the imperfection of the human understanding. We indeed seem to feel our own want of political wisdom since we have been running about it in search of it. We have gone back to ancient history for models of government and examined the different forms of those republics which have been formed with the seeds of our own disillusion now that no longer exist. And we have viewed modern states all around Europe, but found none of their constitutions suitable to our circumstances. In this situation, the assembly, groping as it were in the dark to find political truth, the scarce able to distinguish it when presented to us is how it happened. Sir, that we have not hitherunto once thought of humbly applying to the Father of lights to illuminate our understandings. In the beginning of the contest with Great Britain, when we were sensible of danger, we had daily prayer in this room for divine protection. Our prayers, sir, were heard, and they were graciously answered. All of us who were engaged in the struggle must have observed frequent instances of a superintending providence in our favor. To that kind providence, we owe this happy opportunity of consulting in peace on the means of establishing our future nation felicity. And we have now forgotten that powerful friend, or do we imagine that we no longer need his assistance? And this is a famous portion many of us have heard, I have served a long time, and the longer I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth that God governs in the affairs of men. And if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, it is probable that an empire cannot rise without his aid. We have been assured, sir, in the sacred writings that except that if the Lord build a house, they labor in vain that build it. I firmly believe this, and I also believe that without his concurring aid, we shall succeed in this political building no better than the builders of Babel. We shall be divided by our own little partial local interests. Our projects will be confounded, and we ourselves shall become a reproach and a byword to the future ages. And what is worse, mankind may hereafter, from this unfortunate instance, despair of establishing governments by human wisdom and leave it to chance, war, and contest. I therefore beg leave to move that henceforth prayers imploring the assistance of heaven and its blessings in our deliberations be held in the assembly every morning going forward. And I ask that one or more of the clergy of the city be requested to officiate in this service, unquote. And so I bring this up, thank you for bearing with me that longer quote, but I bring this up in this. Our founders knew and understood that from our history that for the federal government to thrive, and I would say for the local county government, which we're all serving and want to serve our local county government here in Woodbury County, that the government needed to call upon the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. How much more do we as citizens of Woodbury County need to once again call upon the name of the Lord to guide us along this path during the LEC mediation, which is so important to everyone here in front of me and to myself, our legal team, and the other supervisors. And so I'm just today, I just want to encourage you guys, I'm praying for you all, that God give you the wisdom and discernment during this mediation, and for Jody and for John and our legal team. And I just ask that our supervisors, our citizens, our legal team, everyone to ask for wisdom and design discernment from God to help us in this endeavor. As we have prepared, we've built a case. We have done, as the Apostle Paul wrote to the young church in Rome, as far as it is possible with you, live at peace with everyone. And we've done that with our contractors and those in this building project. However, in our broken and sinful humanity, government was established by God to bring order and protection when needed. So as we enter this last leg of the race, and I'm praying that we'll have a good favor in the courts and that we'll be able to get through this and get on to other business here. I just ask all of our citizens to pray this prayer from the writing from the prophet Amos, who spoke this many centuries before Jesus. He said, "Seek good, not evil, that you may live. Then the Lord God Almighty will be with you, just as you say he is. Hate evil, love good." And this last part is the one I'm going to pray. Maintain justice in the courts. And so I'll be praying that we have justice in the courts and that all parties will be represented and that God's will be done for us at Woodbury County. So thank you, and I'll be praying for you guys. Appreciate your service.
Thank you.
All right. No other concerns. We'll move on to item number 13, Authority Board member concerns.
Well, it's not a concern, but we're going to have a new neighbor, residential treatment facility. The planning and zoning approved that. So it'll be coming to the city council. So we'll have a new neighbor.
Good.
Exciting news. Exciting news?
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Okay.
Pardon? Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah.
So
Thank you.
yeah, so Dan Benger, I'm the board chairman for Agape Community Services. We're the nonprofit that bought the 40 acres next to the LEC. And so what Dan's mentioning, Councilman Dan, we just broke ground and began the initial dirt work on that 40 acres to begin the main building for the treatment facility. And then we're going to have other buildings that'll be online. We'll have micro businesses so men can be employed, be able to take care of their wives and their kids, be constructive citizens and not end up in the LEC. Praise God for that. And so we begin the initial dirt work, and we're just thankful to our construction company. And hopefully by spring we'll be able to dig the foundation. But we're getting the initial dirt work moved and settled. Go ahead and put the roads in, and then spring hopefully if we get an early spring, be able to start digging the foundations and get the building going. So, but anyhow, thanks
Excellent.
guys.
Thank you.
Great.
And the county, got this opioid settlement money, and so quite a while ago, before they, had even acquired the property, the county board gave a pretty good chunk of money to Agape to fund their operations on their fundraising and that sort of thing. And so we're glad that we can use that opioid money for an appropriate cause and a great group right here in the county. So thanks, Dan.
Thank you, Mark.
And the other Dan, yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you.
All right, I don't have a concern, but I'd like everyone to know that our next authority meeting will be on November 6th, so just for that information. No other concerns? We'll move to item number 14, joint closed session with the Woodbury County Board of Supervisors and Frederickson and Byron Law Firm under Iowa Code Section 21.51C. I move that we go into closed session.
Second?
Roll call vote, please.
Wick,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Nelson.
Okay. Very good. Thanks, everybody.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone.